We're here for an E3 prediction roundtable with Stewart,
Hi.
Verity,
Hello.
and myself, Scott.
Gonna start off with the thing that I'm most hyped about, which is Shadows Die Twice, which is the new, possibly not new IP from Software, who are the Bloodbourne, Dark Souls people. So basically nobody knows what this is. All anyone has seen is a 30-minute trailer that came out earlier this year, 30-second trailer that came out earlier this
I could
year.
say that's one hell of a trailer.
I know, right? Like, and it, basically all it shows is just like some strange device that slowly is spinning in front of some character. It's in front of some Japanese text, and that's it. And from that, basically everyone's like, "Oh, it's a new Bloodborne, it's new Dark Souls, it's new something."
Can they tell what the text says? Is it possible to read the text?
People have tried to translate it. Apparently, I don't know exactly what the text says, but I have heard that it's in. See, this requires deep diving into like the Souls community, but like people have been trying to translate that. So some of it's untranslatable. Some of it appears to be in this very old, archaic Japanese dialect, and basically it hasn't really helped. But yes, people have tried.
Listen, man, all you gotta do is you've got to kite Solaire from the Undead Burg to the end of the game in under an hour, and then they'll tell you the title of Bloodborne 2.
Right. See, I'm playing Dark Souls right now, so I know how impossible what you're saying is.
I too know some of these words. Do you think this would be a good entry point then if it is a new Bloodborne?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody really knows what it is, but these games are so... From Software kind of designed their games to be so abstract, and the plot really needs to be kind of decoded and figured out. I think every one of them really could be a decent jumping on point.
Yeah, I would agree as someone who's been on board since Demons.
Right.
I would agree with that assessment. But the interesting thing, especially, is that I feel like Bloodborne was like this real breakout. Like I know, obviously, Dark Souls 1 is the huge breakout hit, right? But
yeah.
Bloodborne, I feel like, was a real jumping on point for a lot of new fans.
Oh, I mean, that's literally me. Like
and that's where you came in, yeah. And it's because they ditched the shield. But a big part of Dark Souls combat in the older games was potentially tanking up and just using shield and circling enemies. And the great innovation in Bloodborne is they got rid of that shield. And it made it more of a faster game about dodges and getting quick. And that was more accessible to action gamers. It's still punishing Souls game, but way more accessible.
Would you expect to see then, Stuart, in a new...
I mean, that's the thing. It's so vague on what actually is happening. Like, we've got so few details so far. Like, so if it's a new Bloodborne, that would be probably the one that I'm most excited to see, because the Dark Souls series feels kind of quite thoroughly concluded. They just released Dark Souls 3, I think it was last year.
It was 2016, but there was
2016.
There was also DLC for the last year, yeah.
Okay, so they've just wrapped up Dark Souls 3, and it kind of feels like that series, they made a pretty definitive attempt to finish it, although the video game industry being what it is, I wouldn't hold my breath. But I'm more excited for Bloodborne 2 or something completely new. Like, there are some rumor mills that it is going to be something completely new. I've heard a rumor that it's actually going to be some kind of survival horror game, which... we could kind of... I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Bloodborne and Dark Souls have pretty much guaranteed that I'm probably going to be buying From Software's games for the foreseeable future. Because, like, just seeing what they can do, I'm always interested to see where else they go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's... Yeah, whatever that is, that's the announcement I'm most excited to hear about. I mean, like, even if he comes out and it's like, it's nothing, ha 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 ha. And I'll be like, well, that was
a ploy.
That was unexpected.
You just want the confirmation, even if it's nonsense.
Yeah, you'll come out and be like, this was the Dark Souls of video games announcements.
Oh, no, I can't wait, no. I saw it coming. I wanted you to use it. The main one I want to know are Nintendo's plans, really. The big announcement they already made was Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which are basically spiritual remakes of Pokemon Yellow. So that's a Gen 1 game being remade with modern ideas and a lot of Pokemon Go influences as well, which is a really smart idea. I know it's going to put the hardcore off a little bit, but honestly, I can't blame Nintendo. Pokemon Go was a massive, massive success. Even in its waning numbers, it's still humongous. And then in 2019, we're getting the hardcore Generation 8 Pokemon game. And so that's also coming. But I'm still looking forward to a spiritual remake of Pokemon Yellow, to be honest. Pokemon Yellow was like one of the best classic Pokemon games. But the interesting thing, the reason I bring this up is it is before E3, like just blatantly before E3, like a good 2 weeks before E3. So I'm like, okay, what's your main ammunition for E3? Yes, we can expect Smash Bros. And it's going to be huge, and we're all looking forward to that. But what else? What else you got?
I was going to say they on the schedule it just said that it was only going to be 45 minutes for Nintendo, so they haven't got much.
See, I don't know. I felt that for the last wee while, Nintendo haven't seemed to give that much of a crap about E3. Like, I mean, maybe that's just been me, but they've certainly seemed to not be terribly fussed about it.
They care about it from this perspective of informing their Western fan base, but yeah, no, really, obviously it's not as big as doing their directs, but it's 45 minutes is still quite long for one of their directs even, so I'm sure they can pack a lot in there. But yes, my prediction is probably going to be Animal Crossing. The Switch would be the perfect platform for Animal Crossing. And also, along with Animal Crossing, I'm predicting and this isn't a prediction really, bunch of ports, but we've, specifically I wanted to focus in on the couple that we've seen constantly come up in the leak sheets the last couple of weeks, which, you know, most of those have been fake, but one or two of them have had, like, hints of truth on them. And so the big one I'm thinking of is Fortnite. So Fortnite's the big one. But also, I'm thinking that we're going to get, because it was all over the day that Fallout 76 was announced, it was all over mocked up images. I think we're going to get some sort of remaster of some other Bethesda game, so either Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 on the Switch. So I suspect that'll be coming, or even New Vegas, whatever, I'm not sure. So ports of that, port of Fortnite. Today, Paladins was announced for the Switch, so all the ports are coming.
The thing I'm most looking forward to is, well, although I'm not 100% sure, because actually I haven't actually played the latest Assassin's Creed yet.
I was going to ask! But I see it on your list here. And I'm like, did they even play Origins?
Yeah, I didn't actually get around to playing it. But I mean, and that's the first time I haven't done that, actually. I have been a true Assassin's Creed fan from the beginning, but yeah, I don't know why.
So to clarify, it's Odyssey.
It's Odyssey that I'm looking forward to, yeah, and obviously.
Is it the setting that's doing it for you?
Oh,
then?
very much so, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm all behind anything ancient Greek. Really, I'm kind of like, yep, I'm there, and I'm a little bit concerned because it's only a year since we've had Origins, so they're back on that schedule again, which kind of ended up with Unity being an absolute mess. I would have rather that they waited, but I'm guessing it's just really going to be a tweak on what they had with Origins and in a new, sexier setting. We don't know much else than that, do we? Because it's really just based on the Walmart leak.
Well, yeah, but let's also be fair. It's an Assassin's Creed game. We can make some pretty accurate predictions.
Well, to be fair to Ubisoft, I'll defend them a tiny bit here. In general, sure, I'm with you. Like, all of their games are a Ubisoft game. But they did change a lot in Origins from what I hear. Whether for better or worse, Origins was quite a bit different in terms of its combat system, in terms of like some of the layout.
It was supposed to be very beautiful as well. I mean, outside of obviously the usual bugs that you got at the beginning, it was supposed to be one of probably the most...
That joke about scarabs?
It was scarabs and, what was it, horses riding themselves or horses... horses flying or going sideways, or boats spinning in the middle of the Nile, that usual stuff.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But other than that, what I had to, I mean, I haven't played it, but I have seen streams. Obviously, Kieran covered it, and he was enamoured with it.
I mean, at this point in the Assassin's Creed toolkit, like the internal framework for whatever engine they use at Ubisoft, they just have a checkbox under the components that they attach to game objects, and one of them is just like bug out occasionally.
Do something weird so they get the PR.
Do something amusing.
Which is weird because you think they'd have deleted that part.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it turns out the president of Ubisoft is just like in his boardroom. I'm like, I really like that.
But what if, like, occasionally we launched one of the boats into space and nobody wants to tell him? Maybe no.
It'll be interesting because obviously it's a big period of time, ancient Greece. So I don't know which bit they're going to kind of get in on. I'm wondering how many of the wonders of the world will be jumping off.
I wonder how fantastical they'll get.
See, this is the thing that I probably would have helped if I played Origins, because I don't know how fantastical they got in that. I know there were religious elements to it, but I don't know.
But you don't know if like Brendan Fraser was like fighting a mummy.
I hope he was. I wouldn't be good.
Oh, I'd play the shit out of that game.
I really like the first Mummy movie, the 1999 one.
The second one was
the second one holds up as well. Apart from CGI rock face, but like
we could have done without that. Just justice for Brendan Fraser, I say. Let's get him back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's get
Let's get him back on the big screen.
Top radio predictions: Brendan Fraser in the new Assassin's Creed.
If that happens,
it won't happen, but it totally should.
if it did, wow! Could you imagine?
Well, that's true. That's the unexpected announcement of E3. Certainly.
Wow.
That's for the alternate podcasts. Things that definitely won't happen at E3, but totally should.
Speaking of things that definitely won't happen at E3, Stuart, your other item. I mean,
oh yeah, things that won't happen at E3. Yeah, the Final Fantasy VII remake. That shit ain't gonna happen. Like, I mean, I don't even know if I want it to happen. Like, I want to see it. I'm curious at this point. But like, I don't even know, man. Like, that's
there's half of me that's so excited about it, and the other half of me that is just like they're gonna mess this up, or they're working on it so slowly. Like, it was announced, what was it, 2015 it was announced? 2016?
It was 3 years ago it was announced, yeah.
Well, like, and they had that, they had that triple whammy of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, and Last Guardian is Real.
Well, Shenmue 3. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Like, that triple whammy has turned out to be a triple, not very much, to be honest, because it was Shenmue 3's Kickstarter. The Last Guardian, which turned out to be a bit of a disappointment, and Final Fantasy VII, which that was the last we ever fucking heard of it. So
it popped up briefly at TGS, where it was announced that it would be going episodic. We did get some footage, but we've had alarmingly little footage since then for a game as massive as Final Fantasy VII.
How could they mess it up? What would be the concern about them messing it up?
Well,
I mean, for a start, I've got some pretty heavy concerns about episodic, to be honest. Like, if it is a direct remake about Final Fantasy VII, I have some real worries about how you structure that episodically. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I can see it having a pretty strong 3-episode structure.
Yeah.
Like, breaking it up like the 3 discs would actually probably work pretty well.
Because of the bonus content on 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bonus content on 3 would make a good final episode because it's got a very climactic feel.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I've got some very mixed feelings about that. I want that to happen. But, like, I want more Final Fantasy VII news.
Based on the tone they've been going for with the trailer, I feel like they're going to make it epic.
Square seem to have been really, since 13, really trying to work on their tone problem. Because they did have a major tone problem with the first 13, but then in the sequels to that game and in 14 and 15, they've really been trying to go for the kind of tone that lets you do multiple things. I would argue 15 is a very serious game in terms of tone, but it's also goofy as shit. And
yeah, they're on it's basically a boy band road trip.
That's certainly what it looks like. Yeah, I think as long as they keep the shenanigans, then is what we're saying.
That's what I'm saying. They need to keep the shenanigans. One of my friend's favorite lines from Final Fantasy VII is like, Cloud just comes out of this incredibly complex, stressful situation and is leading the team off to a new location, and he just says, "Let's mosey." And I'm just like, they're not going to leave that in. Just based on like how translations have changed. And I'm generally, I should make it clear, I'm generally on the side of accuracy over making up nonsense. But
are you saying in the original Japanese they did not say "let's mosey"?
I have a feeling they did not say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that.
I'm going to say that there will be no hardware news at E3. Because last year was chock full of the stuff. We had the Xbox One X stuff, and they were pushing the PlayStation 4 Pro. And given that the absolute earliest I could see them announcing the PS5 is next year, especially given recent announcements in the last couple of weeks.
They've said 3 years away, haven't they? At least.
They've said 3 years away, so the absolute earliest that I could see even them just going like, well, here's the controller for the PS5 or something, I don't know.
God, even that makes me feel unwell. I so hope that you are right about no hardware predictions, because that has become my least favorite thing about E3. Like if you're into hardware, great. But as a person who doesn't really care all that much about hardware, and like stats and numbers and things, I'm just like, I watch E3 to see games that are coming out. So please just show me games. And I'm so tired of seeing hardware every time I watch E3.
Well, this could be a larger discussion about who is E3 for. It's now for us, but it wasn't originally. What I would say is I love hardware, like I love tech, but I'm in agreement with you. Like they should keep that stuff unless it's the announcement of an entirely new platform. Like I'll give them some leeway if here is the PS5 full detail. Here's the launch price. Here's like when it's coming out. But it isn't. I don't think that's happening. No, God, no.
But if they don't announce some new hardware, then what's Skyrim going to be on this year? Because
I loved. I was pretty thoroughly keeping track of the Fallout 76 stuff on our Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can jump back through our Twitter. We covered it pretty well. And one of my favourite tweet responses was Fallout 76 Skyrim.
That would be the first Elder Scrolls game I would want to play. Like, like plot twist: the Elder Scrolls world has been nuked.
I saw a great Reddit post today that said that in the game you come out of you kind of wake up from some sort of stasis in the vault, and then you're forced at gunpoint to sit down in front of a computer, and in that game you're in a cart moving across some snowy mountains, and then the screen comes up and it's Skyrim, and everyone's like, "Well played." That's how they do it. That's how they get Skyrim in.
Yeah, okay. It's like, what crime did you commit, stranger? Like, you're ready to go.
I don't know, but I feel like I've been being punished for long enough.
Yeah.
So Fallout 76 Skyrim simulator. Fallout 76, which we've seen, and all we've seen is a little snippet, the usual snippet with music and a shot of a vault, and that's about it. But what we've heard...
And Nintendo blindsided them.
Yeah, pretty much. But everything that we have heard suggested it's going to be online multiplayer, so everyone's now saying, is this going to be the Elder Scrolls Online of the Fallout world? What do we know? Vault 76 is mentioned in the game. I think in Fallout 3, it's in Washington DC one.
And it's a control vault.
It's a control vault, so that means that bad things shouldn't have happened there. But because obviously everyone's been doing the digging and trying to find out what they can about it. Apparently the date is set for 25 years, and the vault was supposed to open 20 years for Reclamation Day. We're guessing is what that is.
It's been pushed back.
So why that's happened, we don't know, and whether it has all gone horribly wrong, which would probably be the most likely scenario for a starting game.
And if that's the case, that would make it the earliest Fallout game.
Yeah.
In the timeline.
That surviving the war isn't a memory for almost anyone apart from some very long-lived ghouls.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
So
you've got immortality as a little bonus.
Yeah. The fair trade for your skin.
Yes, it would be. It would be the earliest of all the Fallout games. But but whether or not, I don't know, are you guys interested in playing this online, or is Fallout something you would rather play individually?
I just I think the Elder Scrolls was a textbook example of why there are certain things that shouldn't be turned into MMOs. Like, it's just not a style of... This is how I felt, and I know this is going to be a controversial opinion, but that's how I felt about the Old Republic as well. I know, I know.
That's not really a controversial
No. See, I don't think that the Mass Effect style RPG worked as an MMO for the Old Republic, and I also don't think it's going to work for the... I don't think it worked for the Elder Scrolls games, and I don't think it's going to work for Fallout either.
There is a really excellent, at least two of the classes in the Old Republic have really excellent Mass Effect style storylines. There's one where you play as an Imperial agent, where you can play sort of, you're doing the will of the Empire, of that Empire, of the Sith Empire as it's called in the Old Republic. But you can be like a light side Sith agent. So like you're doing all their undercover stuff, and then you're not reporting to your superiors that you're like letting everybody off and you're like saving people and like all this stuff. And it's treated as a really sort of morally grey area, and it's a really great storyline. But it's behind a bunch of MMO
Exactly,
stuff.
I was going to say, you've got those great storylines, then just put them in an RPG. You don't...
I absolutely agree with you.
MMO. I had exactly the same feeling with Assassin's Creed. I mean, I know it's not RPG, it's more action-adventure, but it still has that kind of element of when they brought in Unity and it was all like, hey, do lots of things with your Brotherhood. No. I just like, want to be a silent assassin, thank you very much.
And all it does is detract from the parts of those games that actually work. I mean, with the Elder Scrolls, it kind of made sense, because I think that started development when basically everybody was trying to go in the RPG direction. Like, when everyone kind of thought it would be a really awesome idea and was like the games industry does, oh, this thing's successful. What if all things were this thing? But with the Fallout one, it makes so much less sense, because like we've done that now and it didn't work, and there's a graveyard of discarded MMOs that nobody wanted.
Here's the thing, and I agree with you, Stuart, but the problem is I'm pretty sure the Elder Scrolls Online made a ton of cash for ZeniMax.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And ZeniMax is what matters at the end of the day, because they own Bethesda.
To be honest, I if it wasn't for the fact that I just simply haven't got time for MMOs, I think Elder Scrolls Online would attract me, because it's an interesting world, and fantasy MMOs seem to work, and it just kind of pulls me back to that nostalgia for Ultima Online, really.
Like I say, there are some great quest lines in there behind the MMO stuff.
And that would be fine. I mean, I can't...
There's some good stuff.
Part of me does miss that, but... part of me doesn't have time for that anymore. I'm an adult now. I just want to play a game, get through those storylines, and enjoy it and finish it. I don't want to be, dragging it out. And
if you have to spend 60 hours on something, you want to spend 60 hours on it and then be done.
Exactly, and then just walk away. I mean,
and feel satisfied.
Has anyone ever walked away from an MMO feeling satisfied? And looked
because
back at that time?
They're specifically designed for you not to walk away from. So the only reason you've ever walked away from one is because you were like, I can't do this anymore.
Exactly.
So what's your thinking, V? Are you thinking this will be?
I'm thinking this is going to be an MMO, and if it is, then I'm out. But if it's not, then okay, we'll see. Although,
what if it's a battle royale? Because let's be clear, our number one prediction for E3 isn't anything we've talked about. It's everything's a battle royale.
Everything will be a battle royale.
I actually seen an image floating around the net of like Bloodbourne Battle Royale, and I'm like, I would play the shit out of that.
How would it work? Because you've got VATs, and people either play with VATs or without. So how would the people?
I guess you play without VATs.
And then that's going to like damage half of your audience, because a lot of people just play it with VATs. So I can't see a battle royale working either.
When has the games industry been concerned about a feature not fitting? Let's be real here.
Can we sell it? Yes, sell it.
Personally, I think it's going to be an MMO of just you. And who was the guy in 4 who had the hat? Who was like, go find that place. That place needs you. go and build.
And that will make me sad, V, because it will the same thing will happen. It will have some excellent quest lines in there that will be behind the MMO stuff. There will be, if you're a hardcore Fallout fan, there'll be stuff in there that's for you, but to get to it, it's locked behind.
You got to build a hell of a lot of settlements and lots of other crap.
So I'm really interested to see Anthem, not because I think it's going to be any good. I actually think it's probably going to be pretty mediocre. There's no way that EA can't, like, walk back from...
Acknowledge. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've already walked... They were initially saying, yeah, this will have microtransactions in it, it will have loot boxes in it. And then, like, they literally got sued. And, like, people are literally making laws to prevent them from doing that. And they've been like, oh...
Like, it's everything Jim Sterling has been saying for years.
Yeah.
Like, it happened. It happened. They actually found the point at which we pulled back. And I was like, wow, okay, we actually pulled back. Or pushed back. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of depressing that we need, like... Because I'm usually not in favor of people coming in and, like, litigating from outside. And it's frustrating to sort of be in this position where I feel like we have to advocate for that. Because I really don't terribly want to. But at the same time, like, yeah, they just dropped the ball pretty massively with that. So now they're going to have to walk that back in Anthem. And I'm curious to see how that goes. Like, if they acknowledge it, if they say anything about it at all on stage.
I think it will be a silent backpedal, personally. I don't think they'll acknowledge it at all.
V, you mentioned Death Stranding.
I just want to know what the hell that is and what the hell is going on. And just tell me what the hell is going on with the babies in the jars.
Are we going to get any more babies giving us a thumbs up?
I need to know. Why is there a baby in your throat? Why is it in a jar? What is going on? There's just no...
I mean, if you want my genuine prediction, when I say genuine prediction, what I mean is a ridiculous thing that I'm about to make up. There's going to be an evil organization called No Kami that are stealing things.
Yes, they're taking over the world slowly with slot machines.
Yeah, exactly. And they're stealing genius artists and making them make slot machines. Calling it right now. That's what Death Stranding is about.
Apparently, one of the rumoured details is if that your main character dies, that specific timeline will be closed forever. So I don't know how.
I'm very convinced that that's true. Like,
does that mean, does it just like shuts down your PS4? That's it. You're done.
All your choices in Mass Effect 3 mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll wait and see. Well, that's all I want to see. I just want to see a little bit more.
What it is.
What is this?
It wasn't really a prediction, more of a hope. I've simply written Sony surprises, and the reason I've written that is because Nintendo's always a bit of a weird wild card, and they can get away with, like, they could port anything to the Switch and it probably could potentially work pretty well if it's, like, not too powerful for the Switch. And lots of games transition well to portability because of that. What else have they got though? What else have they got for this year? Like, if Square doesn't come on there and show off some Final Fantasy VII Remake, the main thing that Sony's got for this year is The Last of Us Part 2. Now, don't get me wrong, that'll be huge, but what else have they got? Yeah, it's really mixed reaction to the last year's trailer, should be mentioned, in hindsight.
I'm calling it that Joel is dead and is a ghost. Ghost Joel.
Ghost Joel.
It's gonna be Ghost Joel, I'm telling you. He's not there, he's dead. Maybe she's killed him, she's haunted by his guilty ghost. Calling it now. That's my...
Why would Ellie ever have killed Joel in any circumstance?
Whoa. Did we play totally different games? Yeah,
did you play the game?
Semi-psychotic, like, dangerous person? Like, you understand that, right?
And the fact that they took away that ending, there was no ending choice for you, so that suggests that they had, like, somewhere to go with that. Ghost Joel. You heard it here.
Other than Ghost Joel, I think they just need to give us something. Like, I'm not saying they'll not have any stuff. They'll have lots of cool third-party stuff. And they've got that Spider-Man game from Insomniac.
Mm-hmm. Which actually looks really good.
That does look good.
Like, the more trailers of that I see, the more I sort of think, like, this could be an actually good Spider-Man.
What about what about Cyberpunk? Cyberpunk is 77. Is that?
So Cyberpunk. Well, that's the thing. That's not Sony. That's just CD Projekt Red. That's everybody.
I know, but do you think Sony might try and like
they're like, we've got nothing.
we got nothing. We'll just stick some Cyberpunk in there.
We'll just give us an exclusive reveal of Cyberpunk, and then we find out an hour later that everybody's getting exactly that. Like,
I mean, I do think they must have something, like whether or not it, like right now my money's on Bloodbourne too, but because it always is, because never give up dreams. But like they have to have something, because they had a very lackluster show last year, or at least in my opinion, they had a very weak show.
There's Spider-Man. There's like we're gonna get that Death Stranding stuff, but
they'll do a really early reveal for Horizon 2, I reckon, with absolutely nothing, because they're only recruiting at the moment. But I think they'll do like the earliest possible reveal they could do, because it's obviously going to be a Horizon 2, so that's
obviously fine, and yeah, we don't even need to like say that this is spoilers or anything, but the way like Horizon just is set up in such a way that it's like, okay, here's the sequel coming.
Yeah, basically. Like
there is a plot thread dangling in front of the player saying, well, here's the sequel.
And apparently Guerrilla have been recruiting, so you know, I'm just saying, really nothing at all other than maybe a logo. Maybe not even that.
Okay. See, that's at least something I can keep in my mind.
Well, I mean, if Nintendo could do the shit that they did last year with Metroid Prime 4, where they literally just showed the phrase Metroid Prime 4 on the screen, and then like people could go insane. There was not a bit more. The actual trailer, there was just Metroid Prime 4, and then the Twitch chat went.
The reason, sure. There's a reason everybody went nuts, and it wasn't because of the content they showed. It's because Retro hadn't made a Metroid Prime game since 2007. That's 11 years ago now. That's not like that's like an eternity in the games industry. That's like you've just revived a dead franchise.
But they did still just put words on a screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, but it's not the same thing as a game that came out in 2016.
Yeah, having a sequel,
getting a sequel
when it's obviously got a sequel. So.
When it was obviously getting a sequel, it's not the same thing at all.
No.
And also, the other thing I wanted to say was all these E3 predictions for Sony I've been looking at. Everyone's just like, oh man, it's going to be a massive thing on Days Gone. I constantly forget what that game even is.
Oh my god, yeah. That was big last year, wasn't it? That was just zombies.
Yeah, and I forget every year. I see it every year. They show it every year.
Is it not out yet?
Like...
I thought it was out. I mean, like, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, no, that game looked utterly forgettable. Like...
Yeah. It's actually just been pushed back to 2019, V.
Oh yeah, because they need more time to develop their zombies.
What about Red Dead? Do you think there'll be anything about
that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, not so secret shame, because I've mentioned this before on the podcast. Still haven't played through the first one.
Not all the way to the end. You played some of it, but just not.
I played like an hour. I got to the ranch and started doing chores on the ranch, and I was like, okay,
screw this.
That's literally the start of the game. You're still in the tutorial at that point.
I know that, but it was like, okay, people talk about like there's certain games that have slow openings, right? And like some of the more recent Zeldas, except Breath of the Wild, have been accused of this. But like at least there was like stuff happening. On that farm, I was literally just doing chores.
I don't even remember that bit. I just remember being a cowboy.
The bit he's talking about.
You do have to do like 3 hours of chores. It's not like a little bit.
It's not 3 hours.
You said you only played for an hour.
You ride in, you get shot, then you wake up at the farm, and
Bonnie's there, and she's like, okay, can you go get all these cattle? Okay, can you go from A to B, and B is like 4 miles away? Okay, like I don't know. I'm sure the main storyline in that game is phenomenal. Like I've been told that over and over again, and I'm sure it is.
I mean, as somebody who has played it, it is. It's like that game is fantastic.
It's very good. I'd say I am looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the fact that they've just announced all their packages that we're gonna have to pay, and if you want to like pre-order, you get like money for GTA 5 online and stuff like that. I couldn't give less of a stink about any of that. but
Pre-order
again,
Red
game
Dead
itself-
Redemption. You get a free horse on GTA Online.
Exactly.